The girl stood barefoot at the edge of the crowd, her dress too thin for the cold, her fingers curled tightly around the sleeve of her mother's worn coat. Dust clung to her knees, and fear clung to her eyes. The auction yard buzzed with low voices and judgmental stares, the kind that sliced deeper than knives. She swallowed hard, lifted her chin, and spoke with a voice that was far older than her years. "No one wanted my mom, because she has 9 kids." The words fell into the silence like a stone dropped into a well. Her mother flinched, shame washing across her face, but she didn't pull her daughter back. She had learned long ago that stopping the truth didn't stop the pain. Around them, people shifted uncomfortably. Some looked away. Others stared openly, counting children like burdens, like debts that would never be repaid. That's when the rancher stopped walking. He had been heading toward the cattle pens, boots heavy with dried mud, hat low over eyes that had seen droughts, storms, and losses most men never spoke of. He wasn't dressed like the others, no polished belt buckles, no crisp shirts, just a man who worked until his hands cracked and bled, and then worked some more. He turned slowly. The girl's eyes met his. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then the rancher crouched so he was level with her, his shadow falling gently across the dust. His voice was low, steady, and carried the weight of something unbreakable. "I want all of you." Gasps rippled through the crowd. The girl blinked. Once. Twice. She wasn't sure she'd heard correctly. Her mother's breath caught, panic and disbelief tangling in her chest. All of us?" the girl whispered. The rancher nodded. "Your mom. Every child. No exceptions." The crowd murmured louder now. Someone scoffed, another shook their head. "That man's crazy," someone muttered. "He doesn't know what he's taking on. 9 kids? She'll bleed him dry." The mother finally found her voice. "Sir," she said quickly, stepping forward, "you don't understand. I'm not asking for charity, I just—" He stood, towering now, but his eyes stayed kind. "I understand exactly what I'm doing." Her name was Clara, a widow. 9 children. 3 years of sleeping in borrowed rooms, barns, church basements. 3 years of hearing the same words spoken softly or harshly. Too many mouths, too much trouble. Too heavy a load. Her husband had died under a collapsing grain silo. One moment strong and laughing, the next gone, leaving her with grief and 9 pairs of eyes asking her how they would survive. She had sold everything, furniture, jewelry, even her wedding ring. This auction wasn't about selling cattle or tools. It was about survival. The rancher signed the papers without hesitation. When it was done, the crowd slowly dispersed, shaking their heads, whispering about fools and mistakes. Clara stood frozen, her children clustered around her like frightened birds. "Pack what little you have," the rancher said. "We leave before sundown." The drive to the ranch was long and quiet. The truck rattled over dirt roads. The children pressed shoulder to shoulder in the back, eyes wide as endless fields stretched past them. No one spoke. They were afraid words might shatter whatever miracle this was. The ranch appeared on the horizon like a promise. Weathered fences, a wide farmhouse, wind bending the tall grass like waves. It wasn't grand, it wasn't new, but it was solid. That first night, Clara didn't sleep. She lay awake listening to the breathing of her children, waiting for the moment the rancher would knock and say it was all a mistake. It never came. Instead, morning arrived with the smell of coffee and fresh bread. He didn't demand gratitude. He didn't give speeches. He simply showed them where they would sleep, where the children could play, where work would be done. Rules were simple. Everyone mattered. Everyone worked. Everyone ate. The rancher's name was Elijah. He had buried his own family years earlier. A wife lost to illness, a son taken by the river during a storm. The ranch had been quiet ever since, too quiet. He had learned that empty rooms echoed louder than crying children ever could. The first weeks were hard. The children fought. Food ran low. Clara cried alone in the fields where no one could see her break. Elijah rose before dawn and slept after dark, fixing fences, teaching the older boys to mend wire, showing the girls how to feed calves without fear. The little girl, the one who had spoken at the auction, followed him everywhere. "What's your name?" he finally asked. "Lily," she said. She watched him like he was something out of a story she wasn't sure she was allowed to believe in. One evening, as the sun bled into the horizon, Lily asked, "Why did you choose us?" Elijah didn't answer right away. He looked out over the land, over the children chasing fireflies, over Clara. Storm ever could. Word traveled fast in small towns, faster when people disapproved. 9 children, a widow, a rancher who'd lost his mind. Suppliers started delaying deliveries. Neighbors who once tipped their hats now crossed the road. The bank letter came on a Thursday, stiff and official, warning of overdue payments and consequences that didn't need explaining. Clara read it 3 times, her hands shaking. That night, she waited until the children were asleep before speaking. "I'll leave," she said, her voice breaking before she could stop it. "I won't ruin you. I'll find work somewhere. We always do." Elijah leaned back in his chair, eyes dark. "You leave, you take the ranch with you, because I'm not interested in owning land if it costs me people." Tears spilled freely then. Clara cried the kind of tears that come from being strong too long. Elijah said nothing. He simply stayed. But the pressure didn't ease. One afternoon, a truck pulled up uninvited. 2 men stepped out, the bank manager and a local rancher with a smile too sharp to be friendly. They walked the land like vultures, pointing, whispering, already imagining it divided and sold. "You're overextended," the manager said. "Too many dependents, too much risk." Elijah stood tall. "They're not dependents. They're family." The other rancher laughed. "Family doesn't pay debts." The words burned. That night, Elijah sat alone in the barn long after dark. Lily found him there, swinging her legs from a hay bale. "Are we going away?" she asked softly. Elijah swallowed. "Not if I can help it." She slid closer, resting her head against his arm. "My daddy used to say when things get scary, that's when miracles are closest." Elijah closed his eyes. The miracle came in the form of fire. It started near the old storage shed, sparked by lightning, fed by dry timber and wind. By the time smoke ched the house, flames were already racing toward the main barn. Chaos erupted. Children screaming, animals panicking, Clara shouting names, counting heads again and again. Elijah ran straight into the blaze. He cut ropes, drove cattle out through choking smoke, coughing until his chest burned. One of the boys followed him back in against orders. A beam collapsed. Time slowed to a scream. They got out seconds before the roof caved in. The barn was lost. So was half the feed, most of the tools, months of security. At dawn, they stood in the ashes. The children clung to Clara, eyes wide with terror. Elijah stared at the ruins, jaw tight, shoulders heavy with a weight no man should carry alone. This time it was Clara who stepped forward. "We rebuild," she said. Together, neighbors watched from a distance, waiting for surrender. Instead, something unexpected happened. One truck arrived, then another. A woman brought blankets. A farmer dropped off feed. A carpenter offered lumber at cost. No speeches, no apologies, just quiet hands lifting where pride once blocked the way. People remembered the man who ran into fire, the children who worked without complaint, the widow who never begged, only stood. Weeks passed. The ranch limped forward, scarred but alive. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Elijah stood beside Clara, watching the children play in the dirt where ashes once lay. "You saved this place," he said. She shook her head. "No, you saved us. We just decided to stay." Lily ran up, laughing, her hands filthy, her smile bright enough to chase away shadows. "Papa Elijah," she said again louder this time. He didn't correct her. The sickness came quietly, the way the most dangerous things always do. At first, it was just a cough Elijah couldn't shake. He brushed it off like he brushed off everything else, as nothing, as something that would pass. There was work to be done, fences still weak from the fire, winter pressing closer every night, children who depended on the strength of his shoulders and the steadiness of his hands. Clara noticed before anyone else. She noticed the way he leaned on the counter when he thought no one was watching, the way his breath came shorter after chores he once finished without breaking a sweat, the way his eyes closed a little longer each time he sat down. "You need a doctor," she said one night, quiet but firm. "I need hay in the north field and repairs on the well," he replied. She didn't argue. She never did anymore. She had learned when to wait. The ranch felt different with winter settling in. Nights stretched longer. The children slept closer together. Lily stopped letting Elijah out of her sight. She followed him like a shadow, handing him tools, fetching water, talking constantly as if words alone could keep him standing. Then one morning, Elijah didn't get up. The sun rose. The animals stirred. The house stayed silent. Clara found him on the kitchen floor. For one terrifying moment, she thought he was dead. "Elijah!" she screamed, dropping to her knees. His eyes fluttered open. "Don't scare the kids," he whispered. That was when she broke. The doctor came that afternoon, his face grave, his voice carefully controlled. Years of overwork, lungs damaged by smoke, a body that had given everything and asked for nothing. "He needs rest," the doctor said. "Real rest, or you'll bury him by spring." That night, Clara gathered the children. Elijah listened from the bedroom. The door cracked just enough. "We're going to take care of him now," she said. "The way he took care of us." The older boys took over the heavy work. The girls learned to manage accounts and meals. Even the youngest found ways to help, carrying water, gathering eggs, keeping watch by Elijah. On his last evening, he lay in his bed, Clara beside him, Lily holding his hand. "You kept your promise," Lily whispered. He smiled faintly. "So did you." When the rancher who chose a family over comfort finally closed his eyes, the land breathed him in. Fences strong, fields full, laughter echoing where silence once ruled.